There's something wrong with me.
Guys, they did it. They made a decent Marvel movie that wasn't a sequel and didn't rely on nostalgia bait. Plot twist, it was actually super depressing. Like many people, Thunderbolts was the first Marvel movie in a while I was genuinely excited for. I've already completely forgotten what happens in the Marvels. Brave New World was so mediocre I don't ever plan on revisiting it. And Deadpool and Wolverine was actually good, but Deadpool 3 was a shoo-in only because of Ryan Reynolds. Plus you got Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. They couldn't mess that up even if they tried. But something fresh like the Thunderbolts, based on B-side Marvel characters that nobody really cares about, that sounds like the original blueprint for the Avengers, minus that most of the Avengers got their own solo film prior to the huge team-up. In Thunderbolts, we're introduced to the main cast at different capacities in other projects that they don't star in. I was excited for this because it felt risky and the tone based on the trailers felt different than what Marvel had been putting out recently. Right from the opening scene, you can see the different tone that Thunderbolts is trying to set. It opens with a still shot on Yelena delivering a monologue, and a miserable one at that. The color grading for the entire film matches the lack of purpose and vibrancy that Yelena speaks about in this moment. The whole movie is filled with gray and blue tones like it was a project by David Fincher, and the feeling of sadness persists as a recurring theme. When Yelena talks to her dad, he also talks about feeling the same lack of purpose in his own life. Yelena talks about not being passionate about her work, going from assignment to assignment with no emotion. What she wants to do instead is put her skills to good use and actually help someone. That theme is all too familiar for many in real life who feel they're at a dead-end job, doing things that don't matter and making money for people that don't really care about them. Marvel hasn't felt this dark since Tony Stark had PTSD in Iron Man 3 after going through the events of the Avengers. The movie hones in even more on that theme of depression with its main villain, who literally transforms into a shadow of darkness when he's feeling at his worst. I think the metaphor was slightly overdone just to make sure the audience understands, like, I get it, he's dark because he's sad, but I digress. Sentry / Bob the Builder is great. You definitely knew he was going to be the bad guy from jump, but when more than 100 superhero movies have come out since 2000, there's only so many unique ways you can introduce them. I think Louis Pullman did a great job playing the character. From knowing people in my life who have struggled with mental health, prior to his reveal as the big bad, you can see the nuance in his performance as someone who is trying to hide something that they're going through. You can see something happening in their eyes, but you just can't quite put your finger on it. It was great to see that even though he hadn't revealed his history early on to the rest of the team, Yelena was able to see the darkness inside of him and attempt to comfort him because she's going through her own form of darkness. Once Sentry turns into a literal silhouette, you're reminded of how powerless the Thunderbolts really are. They can't fly, aren't gods, and are for the most part regular people. We got someone who shoots guns, Taskmaster straight up dies, and 3 B-side super serum soldiers, all up against someone who turns you into a piece of Banksy street art. The first thought I had from watching the trailer was, how is this ragtag group of hired help supposed to stop this thing? They never even show his face in the trailer, but you already know he's lethal. The third act felt a little bit rushed when they turned the final battle into Inception, hopping from memory to memory. The stakes felt a little lower knowing he wasn't actually killing the people he engulfed in his shadow of sadness. He just sent them to like an alternate dimension or something. I don't know, it's not all that clear where they go. When Yelena steps into the shadow, for a moment it definitely felt like she straight up just took her own life in the middle of New York City falling apart, leaving the rest of the Thunderbolts to fend for themselves. Even though she doesn't die, there's no way she could have known exactly what was going to happen to her, which makes that moment feel even darker. The worst part of the movie is how they actually take down Sentry. After all the Thunderbolts decide to go into the void, they realize once again they are no match for his Rorschach painting powers. And somehow Yelena thinks that hugging him will get him to stop painting the world black. I understand how this fits into the theme of mental health and how this is a visual representation of that. Aside from hurting those that are around you, you ultimately end up hurting yourself, and when people try to offer their support, it's often rejected. But I'm sorry, when I watch a superhero movie, I don't want to see the villain be defeated by the power of love. This is the second Marvel movie where after a fight sequence, the enemy is defeated not by actual brute force and, superpowers, but by someone reasoning with the villain and getting through to their heart. Sam Wilson just reasoning with Red Hulk to save the day just doesn't make any sense. That's cool and all, but it doesn't feel like a deserved victory, especially given the magnitude of the power these enemies have. It's convenient and feels super corny in this case. Really? You save the world by giving the big bad guy a hug? But that's only a minor complaint though. It didn't ruin my overall impression of the movie. I hope this signifies the turning of a new leaf in the world of Marvel films. If I'm being honest, it probably doesn't, but we'll see. Subscribe if you want to hear the next time this stranger on the internet gives an opinion on a movie or something.
That's really about it. See ya.